for the delay, but we had to adjourn officially in the Senate. I would ask the members and guests to always please silence your phones. For everyone, if you wish to speak on a bill, there's a sign-up sheet in the back of the room. I'd ask you to go ahead and get that, your name on that. It's by the podium, or it's by the podium by the door. And at this time, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Carroll. Here. Senator Deneen. Here. Senator Neal. Senator Nemus.
Present.
Senator Reed. Here. Senator Stivers. Senator Thomas. Here. Vice Chair Wheeler. Here. Chair Storm.
Here. It appears we have a quorum. We're duly constituted to do business. Members, do you have any guests you'd like to introduce? At this time, we'll go ahead and get into House Bill 10. That's first on our agenda. It's an act relating to the rights of real property owners, sponsored by Representative Proctor and Representative, if you would, please identify yourself and your guest, and you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm Representative Mary Ann Proctor. I represent the 60th, which is Union and portions of Florence.
Representative T.J. Roberts, District 66, which is Burlington, Hebron, Fisherville, Rabbit Hash, a bunch of local governments. So.
Please proceed.
Representative Emily Calloway, I represent the 37th District.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committeemen. We're bringing this bill as squatting has become a big problem here in the Commonwealth. So basically what House Bill 10, it establishes a streamlined process to remove unauthorized occupants from real property. And real property includes homes, your barns, your sheds, vacant property, farm property, railroads, commercial, so all real property. And it also has penalties for squatters. So the bill is in a couple parts. If in section KRS 512, what it does is define what a squatter is. We don't currently have any language in our statutes that defines that. So we have what a squatter is. And also on here, consistent with what's already in statute, there is a penalty for squatters who intentionally or unintentionally or destroy, deface real property and cause damages of $500 or less. It stays same as a criminal mischief. It's a criminal mischief, and then if they do $500 or more, that stays a criminal mischief. It's a Class D felony. That's consistent with statute, so it is not adding any penalties. It's just keeping them consistent with what's already there for renters.
We have a motion on the bill. Who made that motion? I'm sorry. Senator Wheeler, and then we had a second by Senator Nemus. At this time, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any questions? At this time, please call the roll.
Senator Carroll. Yes. Senator Deneen. Yes. Senator Neal. Senator Nemus.
Aye.
Senator Reed.
Aye.
Senator Stivers.
Aye.
Senator Thomas. Yes. Senator Wheeler. Aye. Chair Storm.
Aye. House Bill 10 is reported favorably with the expression the same should pass. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next on the agenda is House Bill 399, an act relating to interference with the legislative proceeding, sponsored by Representative Blanton. When you get situated, please identify yourself and any guests you have, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. John Blanton, State Representative for the 92nd District, and I'll let Mike introduce himself.
I'm Mike Templeman, Sergeant of Arms in the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The purpose of House Bill 399 is to ensure that the General Assembly has an opportunity to legislate without interference from people who wish to prevent us from doing our work on behalf of our constituents. There's nothing wrong with protesting. As a matter of fact, I support protesting. However, when that protest moves beyond that within our committee rooms and within our galleries to where it shuts down our ability to have our voices heard, each of us represent a number of constituents. I know for myself in the House, we represent 45,000 plus or minus constituents. We are their voices. And about 2 years ago, we had a situation that occurred in the gallery that we had members of the House that wanted to speak on a particular piece of legislation. Because things got so out of hand that the Speaker had to call for a vote without those members being allowed to have their voices heard. Now, contrary to social media, contrary to what people will tell, this bill does not prevent protesting in the Capitol, in the Annex. It does not prevent protesting. It prevents those who are trying to prevent us from doing our work, conduct our business in our committee rooms and in our gallery. It prevents them from trying to block legislators to get into a meeting, to keep them from being able to vote. On the first one, the obstruct or impede a legislator or legislative employees will be a Class A misdemeanor, B misdemeanor for the first offense, Class A misdemeanor for the second offense. On the one that they engage in disorderly or disruptive conduct inside the legislative building, and you actually prevent the General Assembly from conducting business, again, you actually prevent us from conducting our business, then it would be a Class A misdemeanor for the first two offenses. On the third offense, it would be a Class D felony. Now, I think it's important to point out that the executive branch has statutes in place to protect them under obstructing governmental operations. Our judicial branch, judges have the power to deal with interruptions in the courtroom by use of criminal contempt proceedings if necessary. All this bill is doing is providing an equivalent protection for the legislative branch. I invite protests. We have them here all the time. I have no problem with them. I've had people say, oh, you don't like us being loud. I don't have a problem with you being loud. Be loud. Have your voices heard. But we as a body, we represent our constituents, and we should have the right in the galleries and in our committee rooms to be able to voice the voice that we have for our constituents. That's all I'm trying to do. Put in a statute something that is already protecting the executive branch, judicial branch. This protects the legislative branch. Be glad to answer. Mike, you got anything you want to say?
Yes, I mean, the things I want to add to this, some 50 years ago, this also addresses an age-old issue. 50 years ago, I came down here as a young trooper after working organized crime in northern Kentucky when we were doing away with bail bonding. Then the Attorney General, who later became the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court for many years, was concerned about the judicial arrest powers up on the floor because of the separation of powers. I think what this bill does also, upon the call of leadership, it gives a police officer jurisdiction to make an arrest upon the call. I think the points this does that you were so kind to add, if you go to page 3 and 4 of this bill, I think this changes the whole criticism of this bill. One is, I think that the decision of these violations, the way this is written, is a police officer only upon the call of the Speaker, the Sergeant of Arms, the President of the Senate, or a committee chair. What a committee chair will do for us, the question is right here in this building where we sit today. At one time, this was a dual-purpose building. Today, this is a legislative building, and is the separation of power between the executive branch and the judiciary, who has police powers here. So I think this bill does two things. It makes the decision on when there's a violation of this act upon the call of the chair, whether it be a committee chair, whether it's the president, or whether it's the Speaker of the House or the Sergeant of Arms. So I think the decision of you all making that decision when that's a violation, Senator Carroll, is better than a police officer making that decision. So I think members would be more tolerant of these disruptions than anyone coming in and making a decision on where there's a violation. So one is, I think it gives you protection when you go off campus, when you have a committee meeting off campus, who, upon the call of the committee chair to ask a police officer to come in and deal with the disruption. It also has no question that any police officer can come and answer the call of leadership or the call of the Sergeant of Arms. Under the old statute that's as old as the state, it was only the Sergeant of Arms and the Franklin County Sheriff.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion on the bill. We have a second. We had a motion by Senator Wheeler, a second by Senator Carroll. At this time, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Carroll. Senator Deneen. Senator Neal. Senator Nemus.
Aye.
Senator Reed. Senator Stivers. Senator Thomas.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to explain my aye vote.
Yes, please.
Representative Blanton, I have a high degree of respect for you. I think you're an outstanding legislator. However, I do think of the Capitol as being the people's house, and being an attorney, when we use words like obstructs or impedes, conspires to obstruct or impede, or facilitates another person obstructing, I mean that's amorphous language. I mean, I can see a situation like I remember 7 years ago when the teachers rallied here, where you have a lot of teachers and some of them are standing on the steps as we go up. I mean, you could make an argument in that kind of situation, Representative Blanton, that they're obstructing or impeding our movement into the chamber. And so I don't think they were, but you can make that argument, and then they would fall into this provision. Here's where I am. I'm gonna vote yes to move this to the floor, but I can't commit to voting for this on the floor. I would need some time to think about it. But at this point, I understand what you're trying to say, and it doesn't apply to legislators, which was important to me. So I'm going to vote yes at this time.
Senator Wheeler.
Aye.
Chair Storm.
Aye. House Bill 399 is reported favorably with the expression of opinion the same should pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Senator Thomas, thank you. I have the same respect for you as well, sir. Thank you. Thank you, members of the committee.
Seeing no further business on the agenda, entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Stain.